question often asked is, I'm starting playing Fallout New Vegas for the first time. Have you got any tips to help me out? So I've made this little video as a kind of introduction. It's the things that the game doesn't tell you, just stuff to make your playthrough a little smoother. The first question might be, what's a good setup for special for a new character? You know, what can you afford to put a lot into? What can you not afford to neglect? For a first timer, I'd say you can probably afford to take points out of charisma. You certainly shouldn't take points out of intelligence. It's also worth putting a bit into endurance as well. But the rest you can set that up however you want, really. So the second question is what to do with skills. The most important thing to note is that there's 5 different combat disciplines. There's energy weapons, explosives, guns, melee weapons, and unarmed. For a first-time character, I would strongly suggest choosing one combat skill and focusing on that at the expense of others. And for a first-timer, I think guns is probably the best choice. So put points into guns, and basically energy weapons, explosives, melee weapons, and unarmed. Don't put any points into them at all. If you want to play a different type of game, you could maybe play with energy weapons instead of guns, but certainly don't try and spread your points across lots of different skills. When it comes to combat at least. When it comes to non-combat skills, lockpick is pretty useful, because that allows you to get into a lot of places early on to get some pretty good loot, which will help you a lot. For your third, well, it's up to you to choose really, maybe repair. Another general tip for playing Fallout New Vegas is don't be dependent upon quick saves and autosaves. So what you need to do is, periodically, I'd suggest every 20 or 30 minutes, just go into the menu, hit save, and make a new save. And also don't rely on just one of those. Alternate between 2 at the very least. I create a new save every time. I never overwrite an old save, just because if you have a problem, if you save in a place where death is inevitable, it's good to have something you can go back to 20 minutes earlier where you're not going to automatically die as soon as you load. If you're playing on PC and you are modding, then I would strongly suggest installing a mod called Chasm, C-A-S-M. That's an automatic save mod, and basically just, it takes so much of the problem away. It'll deal with it all for you. Another question that people often have at the start of the game is, where can I store all of my stuff that I loot from various places? And the important thing to note is there's 2 types of storage in this game. There are some containers that will reset after a while, and anything you've been keeping in them will be lost. There's other types of containers that don't reset, so they're safe to use for storage. In my first ever playthrough, I will tell you where I saved my stuff. I used this dumpster just here, and I never had a problem, it never reset. The reason why I chose that dumpster is because when you fast travel to Goodsprings, you land somewhere about here, so it's not a very long walk just to go over to that dumpster. So another question that's often asked is, when I'm running around, there's so much stuff to pick up. What is worth picking up and what is not worth picking up? So I've been for a little run around Goodsprings, gathered up a load of stuff, and dumped it into these 2 dumpsters. So in here I've got some things that I consider to be worth picking up. Firstly, cigarettes. They're worth picking up because you can sell them, so pick up cartons and packs of cigarettes. Doctor's bags are very useful. Fission batteries, they're quite heavy, but at a later stage in the game, you can turn them into energy weapons ammo, and they also sell for quite a bit, so it's up to you. Pre-war money definitely pick up, because you can sell that and it doesn't weigh anything. In general, anything that doesn't weigh anything, might as well pick it up. Purified water is good for restoring health, as is Sunset Sarsaparilla, if you're not playing in hardcore mode. You should also pick up scrap electronics, scrap metal, wrenches, and also duct tape and wonder glue, because those 5 are the components to make weapon repair kits, which are all very useful. And I put a sensor module in here because it might be worth having a couple. Also, if you're playing in hardcore mode, you should pick up foods and drinks. If you're not playing in hardcore mode, then that's less important. In this dumpster is a bunch of miscellaneous junk. So all of these things, if you see them around, they're not really worth picking up. Stuff like empty bottles. I've put a fission battery in here as well for balance. But things like hammers and irons, utterly useless. Don't bother. All of this stuff, bunch of junk. I hope this video was useful to you. Please stay tuned for more Fallout New Vegas.